I remember the night our child was born, not through pain but through terror. The twin suns of T715b had long fallen behind the obsidian horizon, and the purple wheat outside the habitation dome whispered like an ancient ocean. Zara lay beneath the sterile glow of alien medlight, her skin glimmering with bioluminescent veins, and in her trembling arms, something impossible cried for the first time, a sound neither human nor Zaranian, but something between. The child's eyes opened, black as the void between stars, and for a heartbeat I thought I saw my own reflection vanish inside them. My hands shook. My mind could barely comprehend that this small, fragile creature was half of me, and half of the woman who had once fallen from the sky. Then came the message, a pulse through the dome's comm crystals, vibrating the air like the heartbeat of a dying god. Zara 7, report. The Council demands genetic verification. Your hybrid offspring may determine the fate of both species. Her face went pale, no, paler than usual, like the color had been drained from starlight itself. They weren't supposed to know yet, she whispered, clutching the infant tighter. We're out of time. My stomach turned to stone. I had thought the exile was permanent, that leaving Earth meant leaving danger behind. I was wrong. The danger had followed us across galaxies. Zara's wrist device blinked crimson, Council link active. Tom, she said softly, they will send the tribunal ships. If they find our child before the genome stabilizes, they will classify it as contamination and sterilize the planet. Sterilize? The word clung to my tongue like ash. You mean kill everything? Her black eyes glistened with electric tears. Not kill. Purify. That's what they call it. I held the infant, its tiny hand wrapping around my finger, and something primal surged inside me, a desperate human instinct to protect. There has to be a way to hide her. There is, Zara whispered, but the price is not small. She reached into a compartment and pulled out a translucent capsule filled with shifting silver mist. It pulsed like liquid time. This is a trans-quantum field key, she said. It can mask her genetic signature completely, but only if it bonds to a living being, to you. The silver light reflected in her tears. The bonding process will link your molecular rhythm to the child's. Her pulse will become yours. If they ever try to scan her, your life force will absorb the trace. I frowned. That doesn't sound like much of a problem. Tom, your species was not built for such merging. The bond will make you eternal. Not immortal in the romantic sense. Immortal in the cursed one. Your cells will regenerate endlessly. Your mind will not age, but you will feel everything. Every death, every loss, every second stretching into centuries. You will not die unless she does. I stared at her, the silence between us sharp as broken glass. So I'd be her living shield. Forever. Yes. And if the Council discovers it, they will classify you as a weapon. They will destroy us both. My pulse thundered against my ribs. The baby shifted in my arms, making a soft sound, half gurgle, half melody. It wasn't a cry, it was like the resonance of two hearts sinking. I wanted to say no. I wanted to scream that I'd already given up my planet, my past, my everything. But when I looked down and saw that impossibly small creature, our impossible creation, I knew the truth. I had no choice. Tom, think before you answer. Once you accept, there is no reversal, not even death. Then let death wait. Her hand trembled as she brought the capsule closer. The mist inside came alive, forming fractal shapes, geometries that twisted through dimensions my eyes weren't meant to see. She pressed it against my chest. The sensation was not pain. It was erasure. Like something reached inside me and rewrote the code of my existence. I felt my heart stop and start again, with a rhythm not entirely human. Every vein glowed faintly blue, then settled into a cold pulse. Zara gasped, pulling back as the capsule dissolved into light. It's done. I collapsed to my knees. My body shook as visions surged, memories not mine, futures not yet written. I saw fields of silver wheat under alien moons. I saw our daughter grown, standing before stars I couldn't name. And behind it all a voice whispered in an ancient frequency, "Every covenant demands its blood." I opened my eyes to find Zara holding me, tears falling silently onto my face. "Tom, your heartbeat." It's synchronized with hers already. If she ever stops breathing, so will you. I tried to speak, but my throat burned like I'd swallowed a sun. She smiled through her tears. "You just made the most impossible choice a human has ever made." The child stirred between us, her eyes reflecting both our worlds, blue and black, Earth and Ziran. In that reflection, I saw the cost of love measured not in years, but in eternities. I wanted to feel pride. Instead, all I felt was the first sharp pang of regret, like the echo of a future where I would wish for death and be denied it. The days that followed blurred into a fragile illusion of peace. TIE 715B's twin suns rose and fell in perfect opposition, painting the purple wheat in streaks of violet and gold, and I tried desperately to anchor myself in normality. Every morning, I watched Zara feed our child, her black eyes focused, methodical, almost clinical. But beneath it, I glimpsed tenderness, a flicker of something that said she was more than a council operative, more than an observer. I washed my hands over and over, counting each vein that now glimmered faintly blue beneath my skin. Immortality. That word had tasted like ash in my mouth when I first accepted the bond, but now its weight settled deep in my bones. Every heartbeat was a reminder. I was no longer entirely human. My future stretched before me like a horizon with no end, and every horizon carries a storm. I tried to sleep, but every time I closed my eyes, I saw the child moving in her crib, her tiny hands reaching toward me, seeking connection. Zara whispered soft lullabies in a language I could barely pronounce, yet the sounds resonated through my soul. I could feel her pulse, her rhythms entwined with mine, and every breath she took was now mirrored in my chest. The bond was no longer theoretical, it was visceral. We ate, we tended the fields of genetically enhanced wheat. We laughed softly when the child hiccuped a symphony of half-alien tones, but underneath the domesticity, unease slithered like a serpent. I could feel it. I knew the council wouldn't stay idle. The tribunal had already marked us. Waiting was an illusion, it was only a matter of time. It began subtly, a flicker on Zara's wrist device. Not the rhythmic blinking I had grown accustomed to, but something sharper, sporadic, almost panicked. One night, while she was tending to the child, I noticed her fingers brushing a hidden panel beneath the floor. A flash of holographic glyphs, too fast for comprehension, but clear enough to show numbers, genetic sequences, and a code I couldn't decipher. I wanted to ask. I wanted to demand answers. But the pulse of the bond kept me in check. Every second I hesitated, I felt her, slight tension radiating through her wrist into my veins. It was as though she knew I had noticed, and for the first time, I wondered if my trust had been naive. I confronted her quietly one evening, our voices low, swallowed by the hum of the dome's life systems. "Zara, what did you just hide from me?" She froze, her black eyes wide, shimmering with a storm I had never seen. It's protocol," she stammered. "I must confirm the child's genetic matrix, but I did not lie about the bond." Her hesitation was the first crack in her armor, the first real sign that perhaps she too was uncertain. We both knew what it meant if the Council discovered the hybrid. Our child could become the fulcrum of interstellar war, or worse, an experiment beyond any measure of morality. I tried to focus on daily life, but doubt gnawed relentlessly. Every movement Zara made, every pause, every glint of hesitation, the bond translated it into a visceral sense of unease. I could feel her secrets like needles pricking my veins. Then came the night of the first warning, a sharp vibration through the dome. I sprinted to the observation window. Two ships, massive and obsidian black, hung over the wheat like predators. My stomach dropped. They were here, and they were searching. Zara didn't panic. Her calm was measured, almost too precise. "They can scan from orbit," she said softly, "but they cannot see what has bonded. Not yet." We have until the solar alignment, 6 hours, to stabilize the child's genome. I swallowed, tasting blood and ozone. 6 hours. The weight of centuries pressed down on me. Each heartbeat in sync with the child's now thundered like a war drum. We worked feverishly. The dome hummed with tension, machinery responding to Zara's every motion. I followed her instructions, my hands steady, despite the storm inside me. Every glance at the child made me question my resolve. What kind of future would she have? What kind of father was I to make her life the axis of two civilizations? And then, the first real betrayal. Hidden beneath the dome's floor panel, I found a transmission scheduled for launch the next cycle, a direct link to the Council, with detailed readings of the child's genetic signature. I froze. My bond to her translated the shock instantly, every nerve ablaze. "Zara," I said, voice breaking. "Why?" She avoided my gaze, twisting her fingers around the child's blanket. "They must know. If they sense the genome is unstable, they will come themselves. I have no choice." But I did. The bond was mine too, a tether to defiance. I realized that she was not our greatest threat. My hesitation was my fear, my willingness to obey protocol. I reached toward the hidden console. If I could intercept the signal, we could buy ourselves hours. But even as I moved, I felt it, a surge of energy, not entirely mine. The bond was resisting. The child, she resisted. Her tiny heartbeat flickered, and the dome itself seemed to tremble. Zara's black eyes met mine, wide with panic and sorrow. "Tom, if you do this, you risk everything. They will know, they will come." And the child... Her voice broke, and for the first time she looked human, vulnerable, terrified, almost pleading. I clenched my fists. No, I would not let them take her. Not now, not ever. The pulse through my veins quickened. The wheat outside seemed to whisper. Tribunal ships glimmered like distant storms over the horizon. And in that instant, I understood the truth. The Council was nothing compared to the peril of my own hesitation. I had to act. And in that act, either we would survive, or everything I had loved, everything I had become, would be erased from existence. The dome shuddered under the twin suns' dying light as I lunged toward the transmission console. Every nerve in my body pulsed with the child's heartbeat, synced to mine, vibrating through my bones like liquid metal. Outside, the tribunal ships hovered, immense and menacing, their hulls reflecting violet wheat as if mocking my defiance. Zara grabbed my arm. Her fingers were cold, yet alive with electric intensity. "Tom, if you override the signal now, they'll detect a temporal anomaly. We'll have seconds, not hours." I swallowed past the lump in my throat. Seconds to save everything. Or nothing. The bond flared violently, blue veins illuminating my chest like a corpse lit from within. The child whimpered, a sound both alien and achingly human, and I felt her tiny hands gripping my ribcage. "We're connected. We can survive this." I forced the override, ripping the console open. Sparks flew, arcs of neon energy leaping like tiny storms. Every motion screamed danger. My heart threatened to rupture in unison with the child's, and yet I persisted. Minutes, or was it hours, stretched into eternity. And then, as the final codes rerouted into the quantum shadows, a shockwave pulsed through the dome. Outside, the tribunal ships froze, suspended as if the universe itself had paused. I gasped. The override worked. For now. Zara collapsed against me, exhausted. "They can't touch us yet," she whispered, her black eyes wide and luminous. "But they will return. And stronger." I held her tightly. I felt my immortal heartbeat in sync with the child's fragile one. My senses were raw. Every grain of wheat, every distant hum of energy, every particle of T715B itself reverberating in my body. "Then we fight," I said, voice low, steady, almost inhuman. "We hide, we survive, and we protect her." Her hand brushed my face, almost tender, almost human. I wanted to say I loved her, but words were meaningless. Actions were all that mattered. I had already sacrificed my mortality for this tiny being and the woman who had fallen from the sky. There was no turning back. Just as relief threatened to settle, Zara's voice faltered. She turned, expression torn. "Tom, the council, they know. Not just about the child." I froze. "What do you mean?" "They know you are bonded to her." Her words landed like obsidian knives. "Your immortality, the very essence you offered, is now a beacon. If they find you, they will not only take the child, but erase you from existence to prevent any contamination of genetic precedent." A silence heavier than death filled the dome. I realized the terrible, impossible truth. Every second we had survived had only drawn the tribunal closer. My immortality wasn't a shield, it was a homing signal. The child gurgled softly, and for a moment the terror of eternity became sharp, crystalline, personal. She was the reason, the prize, and the potential destroyer of everything I had been. And then, with a calmness I could barely grasp, Zara said, "We leave. Now. I have located a rift to a parallel exoplanet, uninhabited, perfect for our daughter, perfect for our future, but the council will not allow us to go willingly." I felt the bond spike. A warning, a promise, a surge of primordial connection. The child's tiny hand twined in mine, pulling me forward. I nodded. "Then we take what's ours, before they can take it from us." The flight through the rift was disorienting, a crucible of light and gravity. I could feel centuries compressing into seconds. My body hurt, every molecule screaming, but I kept the child close. Through the chaos, I glimpsed TIE 715B shrinking, the purple wheat fading into cosmic dust. And then, silence. Absolute. We emerged into orbit around a new, unspoiled world. Its atmosphere glimmered green and gold, the oceans still untouched, the land ripe with potential. The child's gaze widened. I could feel her pulse quivering with curiosity, wonder and fear. Zara exhaled, exhausted but triumphant. "TI 715C, she said softly. "Our sanctuary, our beginning." I looked at her, then at our daughter. A terrible weight had lifted, yet another lingered. The bond remained, my immortality undeniable. I was tethered to them forever, for better or worse. I am no longer simply Tom, human farmer of Earth. I am guardian, eternal sentinel, and father to a hybrid child who may one day decide the fate of multiple worlds. Zara, once a scientist bound to duty, is now a mother, a partner, and my anchor. The tribunal may still search, the council may still judge. But in this moment, among alien suns and untouched land, we are free. Free to shape, free to grow, free to love. And in that freedom lies the cruel irony. The cost of survival was eternity itself. The bond hums in my chest, a constant reminder that every heartbeat is a covenant, every breath a choice. I have chosen love, and love, in turn, has chosen to make me something more than mortal, more than human. Sometimes salvation does not arrive as a savior. Sometimes it falls from the sky as a consequence, impossible, inconvenient, and profoundly transformative. Love is never free. Freedom is never without price. And eternity is the gift we never knew we wanted, until it binds us to those we cannot live without. Our child has been born into a galaxy of possibilities, and the next chapter will test every limit of humanity and Zeranian alike. Will we survive the Council's return? Will the hybrid child define the future or ignite war? Subscribe now, because the saga of T715C is only beginning. And trust me, nothing you've seen so far will prepare you for what comes next.